Hello, DJ. Welcome to Saving the Planet. How are you?
Good, good, excited. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for joining us. Where are you calling in from?
I'm based in London, United Kingdom for the moment in lockdown.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
lockdown era.
I just asked, you just had your restaurants stop serving at 10 p.m., right? In the next week.
Yeah, yeah, and no gathering above 6 people. Well, I have to update again since it's like 15 for some occasions and six for some occasions. Couldn't quite recall. But I mean, I'm staying home all time these days. So,
We all are. This is the world that we're living in. But we get to virtually expand beyond these four walls in situations like this. And so, silver lining, take it what we got.
mhm.
So, in addition to DJ, we also have our fearless, joyous warrior for the planet, Kirti, with us here today. Kirti, welcome. Kirti, Podcasting 101 should definitely take you off mute.
Was she on
Oh,
mute?
is she moved?
Oh,
There might
I
be a
couldn't hear
little
you.
delay. Yeah, we couldn't hear you.
Okay.
I'll speak for Kirti.
No, goodness, no, you should not do that.
I am a
no.
marine biologist.
You ever heard Kirti speak?
That's her. That's my Kirti impression.
All right, Kirti, give it a shot again. Let's see if we can hear you.
I said thank you. Thank you very much.
There you are. Welcome in. Fantastic.
For some reason, her voice went a lot higher. It was a lot deeper before.
Okay, with all the formalities out of the way, I am so excited to dig into this because, DJ, we sometimes have the luxury of having people on the podcast that are doing things that are just mind-blowing to peons like Tony and myself. And so when we talk about Post Carbon Lab, you're going to have to walk us through it. And we've got Kirti here to help us understand some of the science as well. But let's start at the beginning. What is Post Carbon Lab?
So Post Carbon Lab started as a transdisciplinary design research studio focusing on sustainability and dignity. So we worked on a wide range of projects before, ranging from building humanitarian platforms for UNHCR, and then digging into sustainability communications amongst the least privileged people who are struggling with their daily survivals, and how do you communicate sustainability with them. And then now we're evolving into this new microbial space project within the textile space in terms of using microbial pigmentation and using coating techniques to provide and embed ecological purposes into textiles and fashion. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There's so much to unpack on that. I guess then the first part you said was, it sounded more as though it was an opportunity to engage and inform people, but it was less of a manufacturing process. And the latter part you said was much more of a manufacturing process. So perhaps can you take us through the evolution a little bit more step by step? Like, where did this begin? How did you decide to transition into this space? And then where is it now?
Okay, so I mean, like I said, when we first started, I think that the research for behind our microbial processes started in 2014. And when we first started making it, nobody thinks it was important. And I remember people calling us crazy, people thinking that it's like completely redundant and ridiculous. It's not beautiful. It doesn't, first prototypes, it doesn't put aesthetics, which is usually the first priority for design. It usually is the first reason. However, we are challenging that priority order by putting ecology, by putting the environment first. So then what we had in the beginning in 2014 was something, it wasn't very pretty. It was a little bit sort of I guess it's a bit stain-like.
When you say the "it" in that sentence, what is the "it"?
Oh, it's so sorry, I'm so bad at this.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. But I think that's the thing I'm missing is, like, I paint the picture as you would explain it to a child, because that is how I think of the world. If you were to tell, like, a sixth grader what this is, what is it?
Run out and find us
Um,
a sixth grader.
so okay, maybe I should rephrase this. So from 2014, we've started doing research on creating photosynthetic textiles, and that's something we started, and that was the it that I was referring to. However, it never took off. It was never interesting to the audience. It was never interesting to people who worked in fashion at the time, because who talks about sustainability back in 2014? And this is in Taiwan, where I am from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that
So,
amazing that like in 2014, it was not, sustainability was not fashionable in the fashion industry, but now Lex and I did a lot of research, and now it is becoming more of a part of the conversation
I think
in
there's
just
also
6 years.
yes. I mean, it needs to be. If it's not happening, we're all gonna. I mean, I don't want to sound bleak in the podcast.
Yeah.
But we're walking into our own extinction essentially. So
That's a pull quote. That's going right up on the Twitter.
oh my God.
DJ said so.
If we can help it. Not if we can help it.
Exactly. Not if
But we felt
try to
that way
change
earlier this week, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And with the cases rising up in the UK and Europe in general, especially in the US. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think,
DJ, something you said struck
Oh, yeah,
me. You
sorry.
said that part of your work, it wasn't aesthetically pleasing to some critics, which I thought was surprising, because your expertise goes beyond sustainability. Quick read of your bio: you have a background in photography, in design, in filmmaking, which I love, because I'm a big cinephile. But and a quick look at your website, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So it's
People
kind
find
of
it
strange.
fantastic.
Well, it was
is.
just not strange, but like it struck me when you're like, oh, people didn't find it aesthetic. But it seems like you're very, you have a keen eye for beauty and art.
Oh, I think, well, because coming from a design background, and then as well as in fashion industry, it's how do I say this? Aesthetics is something that people often consider as the first thing. So if this thing doesn't come as pretty in the first glimpse, is immediately irrelevant. So back in the time in 2014, with our technology and our sort of very premature sort of prototype, it was not aesthetically relevant enough. And I acknowledge that. I also think, okay, this is something I made. It was not, I mean, in parallel to that, I was next to, say, I don't know, digitally printed floral dresses, or next to, I don't know, Issey Miyake style pleated, very complicated styles. And then I just have some, green stains on stuff. So compared to that, I think it was not relevant enough for the conversation. I mean, now we're doing a bit better, but there is challenges in like pursuing biomanufacturing, and there are, always room for improvement, I'd say.
Yeah.
Can I jump in and just ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Cutie, you don't have to ask. You just jump in.
Okay, so I find it really interesting. I mean, you have this background like in the arts, and then how do you arrive at algae? Like, what takes you there?
I mean, I've literally walked up the tree of life. Is it walk down or up? I mean, depending on which orientation you're looking at. So,
Wait, sorry, you walked up the tree of life?
So if you consider how sort of like, starting from single cell organisms to multi poly cell organisms to like, plants, and then to like animals, and then humans. So then I first trialed with something a bit more complicated. So something to create something photosynthetic on textile substrate that was moss, lichen. And apparently they're a little bit too demanding in terms of like care. And that was how I sort of like walk up the, trying to go down to the least demanding organisms. So then I stumbled upon algae and cyanobacteria. So that was kind of how it happened. And yeah.
Very,
Can I-
very cool.